Hi everyone, Sarah here from Sarah Homfray Embroidery. Today we are going to look at French knots, colonial knots and Peking knots. So we've been looking at Peking knots recently, so if you've not heard of them and you want to know what they are, you can go and check out the channel and see what those are all about. And a few people have been saying, well, what's the difference between a Peking knot and a French knot? And I thought, good point, because they're very similar. So I'm going to look at the three knots today and we're going to show you how to work them, and then I'm going to talk about the differences between them and when to use each one. So let's jump straight in with the first knot, and we're going to do a French knot. So I'm going to demonstrate it in 6 strands of stranded. I've got that in a chenille needle number 22, nice big needle for this many threads. I'm going to demonstrate it left-handed and right-handed as well. So you bring your thread up where you want your knot to sit. So this is right-handed, so the needle goes ahead, it goes over the needle, and it comes back underneath the needle. Keep the tension on that thread, needle goes back in nearby where I came out, pull that thread tight around the needle, that bit's important, needle goes through to the back. So that is a single knot. Just do one more. We have videos on all of these knots, so do check out those if you want some more information. I'll put those up at the end for you. So over and back, needle goes in near where you came out, pull it tight, pull the needle through to the back. So that's right-handed. Let's do a left-handed one. So thread comes up where you want the knot, the needle is behind, I'm holding the needle in my left hand now, thread goes over the needle, back near to where you came out, pull that thread tight around the needle with your right hand, take your thread through with your left hand, just pull it down slowly to form the knot, don't pull it too tight so it doesn't disappear to the back of the fabric. So the great thing about French knots is you can wrap it more than once. I'm going to go round once, around twice, that will give me a bigger knot. I wouldn't go more than 2 times, it gets a little bit chunky and not really like a French knot. So let's do one left-handed, once, twice. Don't go back down the same hole, then it won't come through to the back. Pull it tight, take it through. So you can see my knot is getting bigger now with the more wraps that I do. French knot's also great for doing a row. So you can do them in a line, you can dot them around, great for texture, or you can do them around, do them as an outline. And you can see that you can get into a rhythm quite quickly with these, and just coming right up next to that previous one on the line that I want to work around. And I get my nice row of knots all around the edge, so they make really great outlines too, or you can just dot them around for a bit of texture. One more thing that you can do with the French knot is you can put a little stalk on it, and that's called a pistol stitch. So I'm going to start exactly the same way. Thread goes over and back. Instead of going down next to where I came out, I just leave a little space. I go down up here. Again, I tighten that thread around there and I pull it through, and I end up with a knot on the end of a little stalk. So they're great for the sort of flower centres. So super easy, just take the needle further away and you can make these beautiful little pistol stitches. So just to go over the French knot, I think they're one of the easiest of the 3 knots to do. You can wrap them more than once, so you can create lots of texture with them. You can use them small, you can make them bigger, you can really mix them up and get creative with them. You can use them to make outlines with as well. You can make beautiful outlines out of these knots, and you can also make them into a pistol stitch by adding on the stem. So let's have a look at the colonial knot. So very similar to a French knot, it's got an extra wrap around the thread. So I'll show you one of those first. I'll do it right-handed first. So instead of going straight over the needle, I'm going to scoop underneath. So the thread comes towards me, the needle goes from left to right underneath that thread. Turn your needle horizontal, so I've got a wrap around the needle, and then I basically do a French knot over it. So then I'm going to go over the thread back towards me, needle goes in close by to where it came out, pull it tight. Take the needle through to the back. I'll just do one more. Thread towards me, scoop from left to right underneath. Needle goes horizontal, then do a French knot over the needle, back towards me. Needle goes in, pull it tight. Needle through to the back. I'll do a left-handed one. I'll try and do a left-handed one. Not left-handed, so left-handed. So we're going to scoop the other way. So I'm going to go from right to left. I think this will work. Needle goes horizontal, do that again, thread towards me, needle on the right, go underneath that, scoop to the left, put your needle horizontal, round the needle and back, needle goes in the fabric, pull it tight to form your knot, important part, through to the back. These make much bigger knots than a French knot. Because you've got that extra twist in it, you automatically get a bigger knot without going around it twice. When you go around the needle several times, you sort of form a different kind of a knot. It doesn't really look like the original knot. So if you want a larger knot than a French knot, try a Colonial knot, because that will automatically give you a bigger knot. And then you can also do the same as a French knot and turn it into a pistol stitch. So scoop left to right over the needle and back. Don't go down where you came up, go down a little bit further away, pull that knot tight, and you get that little stem. So you get a bigger knot on the end of a stem. So again, if you want something a bit bigger, rather than wrapping it twice, you can try a Colonial knot on the end of the stalk instead. And like the French knots, you could always do an outline with this stitch as well. So like a French knot, but just get a bigger knot on the end just with the one stitch. So just to recap on the Colonial knot, makes a bigger knot than a French knot without wrapping lots of times, but you can also do your outlines with this stitch, and you can also make it into a pistol stitch as well. Slightly harder than a French knot because it's got that extra scoop in it, but easy enough to do with a little bit of practice. So let's look at a Peking knot, also called a Peking knot or Chinese knot or a blind knot or forbidden stitch. We've got videos on why it's got all those different names. Do go and check that one out. So this would have traditionally been done with an outline around it first. Obviously you can do what you like with these knots, but I just want to show you what the difference is and how you might expect to see this knot. So traditionally it would have some sort of couching around it, often in gold or in a silk thread around it. So I've already done the couching stitch around so you can see what it looks like. We have a video on how to do couching, so do check that out on the channel if you want to know how to do that. So let's have a look at the actual knot. So I'll do it right-handed first. So my left finger, index finger, goes underneath the thread. I wrap it around so the thread points upwards, turn my finger over and we make this loop, and then I'm going to put the needle inside the loop near to where I came out, just underneath where I came out. Before I take the needle through, I'm going to pull it tight. Needle goes through to the back. So this is the one that's been causing some confusion. So well, that's exactly the same way a French knot is made. It is, but the way you actually make the stitch means that it looks a bit different. So it does look a little bit flatter. So I'll do it again. Twist over, needle goes down through the loop, you pull it tight, you take it through. So they do have a different look to them, even though if you look really closely, they're actually formed the same way. So let's try a left-handed one. So thread towards me, right index finger underneath, take it round your finger, back up to the top, turn your finger over so you make the loop. Not very practiced with my left hand. Needle goes inside that loop, close to where you came out, but make sure you pull that loop tight round the needle and then take the needle through to the back to form your knot. So if you look at traditional pieces with the Peking knot on them, the stitches are often worked in rows. They're worked very methodically. French knots you can dot around. Peking knots tend to be in rows. So I've done a little row here, so you would work them all exactly the same way. So there's got some consistency to them. You can tell when something's been worked in these knots because you can see these rows of knots and you can see this sort of slightly flatter knot. You've got to get quite close to see that. I appreciate that. But the other thing you can do with the Peking knot, you can make that loop a little bit bigger, so I'll have a go at that. So we form in the same way, and instead of pulling it really tight, do that so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to make a little loop there, and then I'm going to take my needle through to the back. So you can make this knot with a little loop underneath, so you might see that done. Try another one over here. It's quite hard to get that loop the same, so if you want a row of them that are the same, so just pull up your thread so it's not tight around the needle, but you've just got the loop size that you want. Needle goes down in the middle. That's a smaller loop. There is a loop there, I promise. Tiny one. Let's try one more. You can see it's a bit harder to get these consistent. Down through the back. to make your loop. That's a nice one there. So they take a little bit more practice, a little bit of a trickier stitch, especially if you want to put that loop on. You can't wrap these twice like you can with a French knot, but you can do these little loopy versions as well. So quite a versatile stitch, this one. So probably the hardest of the 3 stitches to actually work, and traditionally it would have had this couched outline around it, so you might want to do that as well if you work these knots, and traditionally worked in rows as well, so you can always tell when something's been worked in the Peking knot because you can see the rows that have been worked. And you can't wrap it more than once like you can with the other 2 knots, but you can make the little loop with it, so you can do some different effects with this knot. So all 3 knots can be used in different ways. You can work them singly, you can work them in rows, you can do outlines, you can fill in solid shapes with them. So all 3 are quite similar from that point of view. So I suggest you have a go at each one, see which one you like the best, see which one you like the look of, and then you can pick which one you want to use for your projects. If you want to have a closer look at these knots that I've shown you today and a few extra ones as well, do check out our playlist up here, all about knotted stitches. That's there on the channel for you to see. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. This is Ginger Cat and I signing out. I'll see you soon.